He sold the priest a beautiful iron kettle. What he did not mention was the tale. Long ago there was a junk peddler so poor that everything he owned was strapped to his back. He walked the mountain roads all day and sold almost nothing, but he never passed a creature in trouble. One autumn morning, high on the path, he heard something crying in the bamboo grass. He set his pack down on the ground and stood still, listening. He pushed the stalks aside. A tanuki was caught by one leg in a hunter's rope, worn out from pulling, its fur torn and its eyes wide with fear. A tanuki was worth good money in the town. The peddler looked at it for a long moment. Then he knelt down, took out his knife, and cut the rope. "Go home," he said. And the tanuki shot away into the autumn trees, trailing the cut rope, without looking back once. The next morning somebody knocked at his door. On the step sat the tanuki, upright and solemn, and it bowed to him like a merchant closing a deal. "You gave me back my life," it said, standing up beside his hearth, "and I mean to pay for it. You are poor and I am clever. Watch." It spun round once. White smoke filled the little room, and where the tanuki had been sat a magnificent iron kettle, black and gleaming, worth a year of his earnings. "Carry me up to the rich temple on the hill," said the kettle, "and sell me for a good price." So the peddler wrapped it in cloth and climbed the long stone stair. The priest up there loved fine things and low prices. He turned the kettle over and over in his hands, and his eyes went bright with greed. Then he beat the poor man down to a few small coins, and dropped them into his open hand as though he were being generous. The peddler bowed, and went away down the hill, looking back over his shoulder at the temple gate the whole way. Inside, the priest could not stop admiring it. He polished it with a cloth and showed it off to every young monk in the hall. Then he set it up on the lacquered shelf where the temple treasures were kept, and stood back to look at it all over again. Guests were coming, so he called for tea. "Fill the new kettle," he said. "Nothing but the best." The monks poured in water and hung it over the hearth. The flames climbed the black iron, and then the kettle went stiff and rattled hard on its hook, and something furry began to push out through the metal. A face came first, then a tail, then 4 small paws. The kettle sprang off the fire and landed running, half pot and half beast. The monks came after it with brooms, shouting. It went over the cushions and up onto the rafters, and the priest fell backwards into his own tea things. "It is haunted," he wailed. "Get it out of my temple." So when the peddler came by the next morning, the priest almost paid him to take it away. Back in the little house it sat by the fire with its face out, extremely pleased with itself. "That was the plan," it said. "But I have a better one. I cannot be a kettle now, and I cannot go back to being a tanuki, so I shall be both, and they will pay to see it." They hung a banner and called the street in. Up the pole it went, a kettle on 4 little paws, while the whole tent pointed and shouted. Then it stepped out onto the rope. Out it walked, high above their heads, holding a red paper parasol. Nobody breathed, and then the coins came down like rain. They traveled for years, and the money came in, and he never once treated his friend as a curiosity. Every meal was shared, and they still tell of the kettle that ran away from the fire. Like, comment, subscribe, and watch the next tale.